Let's talk about vaccine refusal. So, first, I want to start off by saying that I believe that all parents are trying to make the best decision for their child with the information that they have. So, I start off by explaining that my job as their child's doctor is to help them make an informed decision based off of evidence based medicine. So, when it comes to vaccines, we have to weigh the risks versus benefits. So, the risk of vaccines are pretty minor when you look at it. Most children are going to have a little bit of soreness, swelling, redness, maybe fevers or fatigue for a couple of days, typically with non live vaccines. Live vaccines tend to have a little bit of a delayed onset of side effects, but within 2 weeks, you can see some of those side effects. Risk of severe adverse events from vaccines are pretty rare. You see that in about 1 in a million. There are multiple systems in place to monitor vaccines. They're one of the safest interventions we do in medicine because they have to go through so much more scrutiny through the FDA before they ever get approval, and then undergo constant monitoring once they are approved through multiple different systems to include VAERS and the VSD, or the Vaccine Safety Data Link. And those systems have proven to pick up rare side effects that can be associated with the vaccines and have shown to pull vaccines even when they see a 1 in 10,000 risk of a severe adverse event. So then you compare the risk of that to the risk of the diseases. So here's a chart made from Pfizer, but that goes over many of the diseases that most vaccines are preventing. Doesn't have all of them on here, but I think it's a good summary that just does show some visual representation of these diseases. So this is a benefit of vaccines, is preventing these diseases. These are becoming much more prevalent as years go forward and less people are choosing to vaccinate, and are becoming much more of a real risk for your child. And the side effects of these diseases can be very severe, including bleeding, respiratory failure, heart failure, broken bones. When you look at tetanus or coughing from pertussis, you can see cancer, ear infections, needing surgery, and most of them can also even lead to death. Even in this day and age where we have the most modern medicine and all the equipment and everything, we don't have treatments for all of these vaccine preventable illnesses. Most providers who've trained in the last 20 years has never seen most of these diseases because of vaccines. But the treatments aren't great and they aren't really there. So most of it's going to be supportive care and does include suffering for your child. And it's important to understand that this is a real risk of choosing not to vaccinate. Then it's important that we document the discussion that we have. And so this form is through the American Academy of Pediatrics and basically says that I have discussed this with my doctor. I understand the risk of not getting these vaccines means my child could get these diseases, which include these side effects, and most of these do include death even. And I understand these risks. I've had the chance to talk about it with my doctor, and I accept these risks. Then I like to remind parents that this form isn't written in stone. So at any point that they want to discuss it again or change their mind and get a vaccine, then that's always something that we can do and would be happy to do. I think it's important to keep an open mind when it comes to anything that we do in medicine, and especially vaccines and medical decisions that you're making, because we get new information all the time. And so keeping that open line of communication is important. There's a ton of great resources out there through the AAP, through CHOP, Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. There's also the immunize.org is a good website. I'd recommend Vaccines in Your Family by Paul Offit, who's one of the top vaccine experts in the world, I would say. And finally, I just want to close with please, if you choose to comment, to keep your comments positive. I won't tolerate any disrespectful or hateful comments or comments that are not based on facts, because that's the whole point of me being here and doing these videos, is to share facts and evidence-based medicine to help parents make the right decision.